Oh, Decade of Domination is available for pre-order on Walmart.com. Huh. There's Natty. Let me add it to my cart. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, let's see when it gets here. Alright, it's coming now. Okay, 2 months. Oh my god. I've waited long enough. That's what pre-orders are for. Pre-orders are meant to be sent before they hit the shelves. Anyway, let's check out the shipping update. Son of a... Okay. It's going to be sent my way. It's going to be sent my way. Here we go. Duh! Walmart, you left me no choice. It's time that I get up, I get out, and I do a good old-fashioned fig hunt. Natty will be here. Alright, so the pre-order thing's not working well. Been to 7 Walmarts. Here's number 8. Let's see what we got. Time to mask up and look. Alright, we're going down the aisle here. Let's see what we see. Typical collection here. Nothing new. Yep, same old, same old. Lots of Cenas and Balors if you want them. Anyway, let's keep on searching. Hey y'all, welcome to Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now after months and months of straight disappointment from Walmart.com after pre-ordering the Decade of Domination Natalya, I decided to go out and fig hunt. And even though I don't have the best success in my area, I went to about 7 different Walmarts before I finally came across it. And boy did it feel good. There's honestly nothing like a successful figure hunt. Now that being said, I'm really excited to get a closer look at this figure, so without further ado, let's dive in. So this Decade of Domination series is just an awesome idea. So the basic premise behind it is 10 years ago, Mattel and WWE partnered up to make figures. And the rest is history. As you know, the quality, the consistency, everything else is honestly untouched. Now the superstars released in this line are superstars that have basically been here 10 plus years. You know, ones that were with them, the company that is, at the beginning of the line up until now. And Natty is a prominent female featured in the first line. The second line has Beth Phoenix, but Natty in the first. So looking at this packaging, it's really cool up close because it's got little highlight reel film strips of basically different segments and moments of her career. And on the side, there's a classic picture of Natty. Same with that side. And then on the back, it has a little bio, and it also talks about that 10-year relationship, and there's the rest of the line. So all superstars who 10 years ago were prominent in the WWE, and that are still around in some form now. Now, that being said, this box looks great, and this figure does look great displayed men on card. However, because I like to open them, I'm definitely going to open this one up. But if you are a men on card collector, this is definitely one that looks great men on card. First thing I'm going to say when I open up this Natty is, wow. This does a great job of displaying exactly how she looked a decade ago. And they put a lot of detail into it. Is this a perfect figure? Absolutely not. We'll get into that in detail, but it is cool and it does look great. Now, this attire is from the Great American Bash on July 20th, 2008, where Natalya was defeated by Michelle McCool in the inaugural Divas Championship match. And her accessory is none other than the Divas Championship belt. Now, this is a great looking belt, and it's stunning. I know it's been released multiple times, crappy versions of it, usually coming with the Bella Twins. But this high quality title, I believe it was released in a exclusive belt pack, exclusive to Ringside, I believe. And it's been released a couple times with other figures. The closest comparison I can make to my figures is this looks very similar in quality to the Kelly Kelly Elite 17, except that one is way too big and this is scaled down and fits nicely. And it's a lot more lifelike and perfect. She also comes with this display table for the belt and a pair of open hands. Now, the reason I don't have a whole lot of Divas titles to compare this to is because that was kind of a dark time for the women's roster. They were kind of a show, kind of an act. Not a whole lot of competition there. They weren't really taking that seriously. But in all honesty, it took superstars like Natalya, like Paige, to take this Divas Championship and make it meaningful and make it something special. And eventually the Raw and SmackDown Championships were born and they got taken seriously. So I don't mind displaying her with this title because she did so much for the women's division and really turned this into something meaningful. So, that being said, awesome accessories. Now let's take a closer look at that figure, starting with the face. Now, this TrueFX face scan, by no surprise, it's awesome. I mean, it looks great, and it looks just like her. Now, what really pops about this figure, what really stands out is this hair. It's a reddish brown type color that she had at the time, and the mold of it is stunning, honestly. It's a beautiful mold. It looks awesome all around. And you can't really see or appreciate the attention to detail until you take her out of the package because it looks awesome. But yeah, the face looks spot on. Now, it's important to note, and I will compare this to her most recent Elite in Series 74, but this Natty is more to scale than that 74. I go crazy over that Elite 74 because it's so tiny, and I'll cover that. But let's move on to the attire next. Now let's move on to her attire. Now, this is pretty spot on to her match at the Great American Bash in 2008. And it's very reminiscent to what she wore early in her career. However, with this attire, there's good and bad. I'm going to start off with the good. The good, it looks striking. This blue color all throughout, along with the white mixed in, with the gold accents and outlines. And there's little intricate silver dots on her chest, along on the side. And even on the chest, there's a little blue. Moving to her lower extremity, I really like the inclusion of these capri-style leggings because that's what she wore. And the fact that they painted a little bit of flesh to display that is a nice little touch. The boots are probably the best part. They look awesome all around with the inclusion of kick pads. Now, the bad. The first thing I'm going to point out is, by God, I thought they fixed it. The Victoria's Secret body paint belly button issue. Now, they've been so wishy-washy with this. I thought it was fixed, and then here and then we get this issue again. They've released figures, plenty of figures, where that belly button issue is fixed, where it's more smooth over top and it looks like they're wearing a layer of clothing on top, whether it be tight or loose. This is just painted straight on over the belly button, and it's a deep dimple, so it looks kind of silly. Another problem I have with this is there's little molding in the upper extremity. We have molding between the chest, and that's it. I mean, the straps have no mold to them, nor does the top of her top. So that really bothers me too. But honestly, looking from a distance, this figure looks pretty cool, and the attire looks great. It's just when you get up close, you notice that there's not a whole lot of molding detail, and for a figure that should be this iconic, I was really hoping they'd go the extra mile for it. Now, a video that I've been working on for quite some time, and it continues to grow, is the problem with the scaling in these women's figures by Mattel as of late. And here's a perfect example why. Now, on the left, we have Elite Series 74 Natty, and on the right, we have the Decade of Domination Natty. Now, see, she's listed as 5'5". And let me tell you something, this Elite 74, it does not live up to the 5'5" scale if that's what you're going for. If you put it on the shelf with all the other Elite women, it is way shorter than all of them. And it almost looks like it was Bring Your Kid to Work Day or something with the women's figures. No joke. So just by looking at the two, if you're going to put one on the shelf with your other women's elites, and you don't want it to look ridiculous, then I would actually go with the Decade of Domination Natty. Now, don't get me wrong, this Elite 74 Natty is great, and it is a beautiful figure, and it's gorgeous with all the attention to detail and the deco, but I have to wonder if they shrunk it down a little bit as a cost-cutting measure, which bothers me a little bit. But even standing them back to back, I mean, you can see that this Decade one is a lot taller. And you might be thinking, well, the Decade one's too tall, but I'm telling you what, this Elite 74 Natty is actually shorter than Io Shirai in her figure. So that's why I wanted to do a quick comparison. I don't want to bring other figures into this. I'm going to save that for the comparison video that I'm still working on. I just wanted to show you that her most recent Elite compared to her Decade, they're both great figures, but this Decade one just seems a little more accurate as far as height goes. So that's the one I would display. And here's one more look at Natty. So overall, I give Decade of Domination Natalya a score of a 7.5 out of 10. To me, it's a cool figure, but here's the thing. This Decade of Domination line, they really went all out on it. Look at the Undertaker figure released. Look at the John Cena figure released. I mean, they put so much effort and attention and so many accessories and molded pieces and they put so much time into those. And with Natty, they really didn't. They did a great job with the facial likeness. The hair sculpt's great. The attire looks good painted, however, this being such an iconic series and something that collectors are really going to want, I expected the attire to at least have some molding and that belly button to at least be covered up. So honestly, it's not a bad figure, it's a good figure, but is it a great figure? No. They could have done a lot more to this and given a lot more love and attention, especially compared to the other figures in the line. Thanks for stopping by Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and join the community. Let's show the world that these women's wrestling figures kick ass and deserve all the attention in the world. Now make sure you stay tuned. I have a lot of exciting reviews coming up, including the history of Nikki Bella figures and also the history of AJ Lee figures. Have a good night, y'all.